See, you might have bought your Switch because something like Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, or Animal Crossing finally convinced you, but what you might not know is that the purchase of a Nintendo Switch opens the door for you to experience literally hundreds of fantastic video games well worth your time. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 25 Switch games 2022 and prior. This list takes into account the Switch's full library of games from its release until now. Now you might be thinking, 25 games? That's kind of a lot. And while you're not wrong, the Switch's library is so packed with excellent titles that this top 25 ranking barely even scratches the surface. So without further ado, let's dive right into the list. A fresh take on a classic top-down Zelda adventure for the Game Boy, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening arrives on a modern console with style, featuring a gorgeous toy-like art design. Enjoy some eye candy while you relive Link's journey on Koholint Island. Still the peak of 2D Zelda on Nintendo Switch, Link's Awakening breathes new life into one of Link's most off-the-beaten-path adventures. There's even a bonus create-your-own dungeon mode included here. Think of it as Zelda Maker Lite. We all know Tetris, and there's no shortage of ways to play the classic falling block survival game. But the 99-player Battle Royale fight to the death that Tetris 99 offers might just be the most fun the series has ever been in its 38-year history. Test your Tetris skills while dealing with the junk sent over by other players. The marriage of the Battle Royale concept and Tetris gameplay is a match made in heaven. Since during each match you're trying to outlast 99 other Tetrisers, you always have a serious challenge on your hands. But win or lose, it's always a good time. The replay value of Tetris 99 is endless, and there are even a handful of Nintendo theme boards which still release ever so often, complete with art and music from each title. A great touch to this online multiplayer must play. You've probably already heard of Hades. This indie roguelike garnered massive public attention starting in 2020. It has since grown to become one of the most widely loved indie titles of all time, and Nintendo Switch is one of the best places to play it. Battle against shadows in the beautifully drawn underworld, collecting new abilities as you progress. The beauty of a roguelike like Hades is that you play until you win or until you die. What makes Hades unique is that Zagreus, the player's character, gets incrementally stronger each run, and you learn more about the game's Greek mythology-inspired lore and characters each time as well. This creates an addictive gameplay loop that encourages run after run after run. With some of the most satisfying combat ever seen in a video game, voice acting, and an outrageous amount of content, Hades is one Switch indie title you definitely don't want to miss. There are many games on this list that could be classified as visually beautiful, but perhaps none as much as Square Enix's Octopath Traveler. A pioneer of the now trendy HD 2D style of RPG game, Octopath tells the tale of 8 unique characters converging to tell a series of interconnected stories. Here, finely crafted pixel art blends with modern-day camera, lighting, and particle effects to create a visually stunning setting for the adventure. Taking a great deal of influence from SNES-era turn-based RPGs, Octopath's combat system is satisfying and will definitely evoke those memories from old. Also, the amazing soundtrack can't be neglected. A package that provides hours upon hours of content and strikes every note most RPG fans are looking for, Octopath Traveler is well worth a spot in every Switch library. Though the cute Wii U gamepad features from Pikmin 3's original release are gone in this deluxe version of the game, Nintendo Switch is still the best place to play the third and latest entry in this plant-based Nintendo franchise. There's nothing quite like Pikmin. Grow a Pikmin army and then command your troops through a series of explorable areas, collecting fruit and taking on dangerous enemies, who can actually get pretty large and scary. This time, you pilot 3 separate captains, between which you can take control of at any time. This effectively multiplies the strategic and time management elements of the classic Pikmin formula by 3, a brilliant way to expand scope for the third entry in the series. And don't forget, you can also play the entire story co-op with another player, boasting an unforgettable main campaign, new side content, plus addictive challenge modes, and the infamous head-to-head bingo battle. Pikmin 3 Deluxe shines among the Wii U offerings now available on Switch. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and EEVEE might not be everyone's cup of tea. By removing wild Pokemon battles and introducing an all-new capture mechanic inspired by Pokemon Go, Let's Go truly shook up the core Pokemon formula more than any title that came before it. This change was for the better though. What Let's Go brings is a refreshing new way to experience the original quest to be the very best through the Kanto region. Though it wasn't in the form factor most were expecting, Pokemon's debut on Nintendo Switch was no doubt a successful one, and resulted in one of the best monster battle RPG experiences on the console, bar none. Plus, these experimental titles brought with them a few innovations we'd see become mainstays in the series going forward, like wild Pokemon spawning in the game's overworld rather than random encounters in the tall grass. Celeste is full stop one of the best platformers to come out in the past 10 years. With a slick, retro-inspired pixel art aesthetic, exceptional music, and creative level design, Celeste is, above all, a work of art. Follow Madeline as she journeys up a steep mountain, both literally and metaphorically, as she battles demons within her own head. But the crazy thing about Celeste, strip out the art, the music, and character development, and you're still left with an innovative, addictive, and tough-as-nails modern platformer that's truly a crowning achievement in the genre. Celeste is the best independently developed game on the platform. There's not all that much to say about Super Mario 3D All-Stars, other than the fact that it's a collection of 3 of the greatest 3D platforming games of all time. You won't find much more value for your money in any single video game purchase than you will with Nintendo's 3D All-Stars. Enjoy the pioneering Super Mario 64, tropical Super Mario Sunshine, and Space Set Super Mario Galaxy, all newly optimized for Nintendo Switch. Nintendo spoiled their fans with this can't-miss collection in order to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Mario series. Now the only question is, where's Super Mario Galaxy 2? The Nintendo Switch remakes of Pokemon's Generation 4 titles, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, are the most accessible way to get the classic Pokemon experience on modern hardware. These beloved Nintendo DS Pokemon entries live on and boast a timeless new art style, along with superbly redone music. This is that collect 8 badges, turn-based battling Pokemon comfort food, yet it isn't devoid of any new features either, as the game is revamped and modernized in certain areas. For example, HM moves are now accessible through the player's Pokétch device. And we can't forget about the addition of underground Pokemon hideaways, where just like in Let's Go, Pokemon greet you in the overworld instead of in the tall grass. These games strike a flawless balance between the old and the new. Whether you pick Diamond or Pearl, you simply can't go wrong with either of these Pokemon remakes. If you own a Switch, there's a good chance you've at least heard of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is essentially this game's daddy. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is an action RPG Zelda spin-off based on the world and characters of Breath of the Wild. That alone is probably enough to sell most people on it, but even putting aside the fact that it expands the story and lore of Breath of the Wild, Age of Calamity stands on its own as a fantastic warrior-style game. Take control of a variety of characters with vastly different movesets and fighting styles, and plow through hordes of enemies on a mission to stop the calamity before it happens. An addictive romp that you'll never want to put down, the latest entry in the Hyrule Warriors brand of spin-offs provides some memorable moments and high-action fun. And as a bonus, you can even pilot the Divine Beasts. Another one of the Wii U's best games is made even better on Nintendo Switch with Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This is one of the finest 2D platformers you'll find anywhere, in all aspects of the genre. From visuals, to music, to gameplay feel and level design, Tropical Freeze is nearly unmatched. And though you might fall in love with the game's exceptional audio and visual design, you might at the same time be ripping your hair out at just how difficult some of these levels are. Completing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a genuine challenge, especially if you go for the 100%. So strap in if you're going to give this one a try. You're in for one seriously difficult but unforgettable ride. Another top contender for most gorgeous game on the platform, Luigi's Mansion 3 takes Mario's Brothers full-featured series to new heights, this time being set in a 17-floor hotel. Help Luigi navigate the halls and capture ghosts with the help of his iconic Poltergust vacuum. This go-around, Luigi's outfitted with a variety of new features, like the plunger suction shot that sticks to various surfaces, allowing him to pull on faraway objects, and of course, his not-so-solid counterpart, Gooigi, who you can take full control of, making him an important puzzle-solving device. A fine example of Nintendo quality in visual design and puzzle platforming, Luigi's Mansion 3 should be a non-negotiable in every Switch owner's collection. It's hard not to love it when a decades-old franchise breaks free of its conventions and tries something new and exciting that just absolutely works. This is exactly what the latest Pokemon Switch title, Pokemon Legends Arceus, does. The amount of new in Legends Arceus is staggering, but it really does, for the most part, still feel like a genuine Pokemon adventure. Legends keeps the turn-based RPG battle system from classic Pokemon games mostly intact, but adds in some action elements like sneaking up on Pokemon and actually aiming to throw the Pokeballs to catch them. Legends is the realization of something fans have been dreaming of for decades, and as a Switch owner, you owe it to yourself to pick this one up, even if you aren't traditionally a Pokemon player. The definitive version of the 11th mainline Dragon Quest started off as an exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, and is without a doubt one of the finest RPG adventures available anywhere. This is a massive game that will take upwards of 100 hours to see everything, but it's all well worth it, as Dragon Quest XI is brimming with charm and features one of the most lovable groups of characters in recent memory. Dragon Quest has always stuck to its roots as a no-frills, turn-based JRPG, and Dragon Quest XI is no exception. If you're someone who's looking for a meaty journey to really sink your teeth into on Switch, look no further. And one last cool thing to mention about this one, you can choose whether you want to play the entire game in 2D or 3D mode, and switch back and forth at any time. How cool is that? Super Mario Maker is a definitive title in the Wii U's library, but Super Mario Maker 2 is the finest realization of that concept. In a single package, you get access to literally thousands of Mario levels and counting, making the amount of content in this game essentially endless. Granted, some user-made levels are better than others, but with a robust level search system, it's not hard to find the great ones. There's even a fun story mode, complete with a bunch of levels made by the experts at Nintendo. And this isn't even counting the core experience of Super Mario Maker 2 for most players, the ability to create and share your own Mario courses. Combine all this with the newly added World Maker, and you have a singular game that provides quite literally endless fun. Well, until the server shut down at least. Kicking off the top 10 is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, an example of how all HD remasters should be handled in the future. The original Skyward Sword is already a beautiful looking game, but the visual upgrade in this HD enhanced version is staggering, complete with some updated textures and models, all running at a full 1080p 60 FPS. Plus, the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers enhance the original game's motion-based sword combat. Skyward Sword's one-to-one sword-to-Joy-Con controls immerse the player like no Zelda game has done before. You truly feel like you are Link, going through all of his battles yourself. And for those who do not prefer motion controls, the entire game can be played with a standard Switch controller as well. One of the best written and most charming entries in the entire Zelda catalog, Skyward Sword HD culminates in an epic quest to save the world. And with it being the first game in the series chronologically, it gives insight into the origins of the Zelda universe as well. An absolute must-buy for Zelda fans new and old, Skyward Sword HD is the gold standard of Nintendo remasters. If you own a Switch, you probably already own Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but there's a good reason why this game has such a ridiculously high attach rate. The premier version of the Wii U's legendary Mario Kart installment, this kart racer laps the competition as it's by far the finest one on the market. Deluxe includes all of the downloadable content from the Wii U version straight out of the box, plus some newly added features and quality of life changes. The multiplayer game of choice for most of planet Earth finishes at an easy 9th place on this list, and it can move even higher in the near future, since a downloadable update that features 48 newly remastered classic courses is coming later this year. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. Yet another Wii U to Switch transplant, Mario's fifth home console 3D platforming adventure was ported to Switch in the form of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. This release features two separate games. The main course is 3D World, which features a wide variety of fun levels that can be tackled either solo or co-op with up to 4 other players. It's playing with others when the madness really begins. As soon as you add additional players attempting to navigate these platforming stages, it can get hectic quickly. It's addictive trying to work through 3D World's expertly crafted set of levels, and some of the later stages can be a major challenge, especially if you're aiming to collect all the stamps and Green Star collectibles. Plus, this re-release provides some much-needed changes to the original game, such as upping each playable character's movement speed, improving the game's overall pace and feel by a substantial amount. 3D World would already be high up on this list by itself, But Bowser's Fury, the small pack-in adventure that comes along with it, has yet to even be mentioned. Bowser's Fury is a completely separate mode, and a revolutionary step for 3D Mario, as it features a fully open, explorable world in which we play as Mario, using a hybrid between the 3D world and traditional 3D Mario control schemes. This quest through Lake Lapcat to collect all of the cat shines and stop the big bad Fury Bowser is the taste of an all-new 3D Mario adventure we've all been craving, and altogether, it's a truly unforgettable experience. It took almost 2 decades for a follow-up to Metroid Fusion to arrive, but I guess we can say that the wait was well worth it, as what finally came is the 7th ranked game on Nintendo Switch. Metroid Dread is a 2D sci-fi action platformer in which we play as Samus Aran, a bounty hunter tasked with exploring the wild and dangerous planet ZDR. On her journey through each of the game's underground environments, Samus will accumulate new abilities, some of which will be familiar to Metroid series veterans, and some completely new. But they all combine to make up the coolest iteration of Samus in her 35-year history. Metroid Dread is overall the Switch's best-looking game, and boasts slick controls with brilliant level design to match. Between its difficult, epic boss fights and a large maze of underground caverns just begging for you to get lost in, Metroid Dread is an adventure for the ages. Touted by many as Pokemon's real debut on the Switch, the Generation 8 pair of Pokemon RPGs, Sword and Shield versions, bring a great deal of new to the series, including freely explorable wild areas and 2 substantial DLC updates centered around this free camera, open area adventure style. And this is not even to mention the all-new set of Pokemon currently exclusive to Generation 8, with over 400 unique monsters to capture, train, and battle. No 2 Pokemon adventures are exactly alike. Set in the colorful Galar region, which is based on the real-life United Kingdom, Pokemon has never looked so good. Still the premier Pokemon titles on the market, Sword and Shield share a spot as the 6th best games on Nintendo Switch. The Switch debut for Nintendo's top strategy RPG series, Fire Emblem Three Houses, packs a metric ton of content into a single package. With multiple different routes or completely different ways to experience the main story, plus a full downloadable expansion pack, this single game can take up hundreds of hours of your time, and it will all be time well spent. As a newly appointed professor at Garrigmach Monastery, you'll need to choose one of the titular 3 houses to command not only in the classroom, but on the field of battle. Use your time at the monastery to build bonds with your students, thus becoming stronger on the battlefield. Then when it's time to square up, act as a master strategist as you command them around the grid-based combat maps. Take on some thrilling and brutally difficult battles, all while enjoying a plot that's full of unexpected twists and turns. Fire Emblem Three Houses is a game that leaves a lasting impression on everyone that plays it, which is why it kicks off the top 5 Nintendo Switch games in 2022. Animal Crossing New Horizons is a game, or should I say a phenomenon, unlike any other. If you owned a Switch anytime in the last 2 years or so, you probably know about this game already. Animal Crossing is essentially your second life, but instead of being surrounded by people, you're surrounded by bipedal animals who walk and talk and have a house just like you do. Animal Crossing is known for its charm and cuteness, but it holds its own just as well as a super fun and addictive world-building video game. The game syncs with the location, date, and time in your Switch's system settings. So if it's summer where you live, it's summer in Animal Crossing. And if it's nighttime where you are, it's nighttime in Animal Crossing as well. This is what makes it such a fun and unique experience. There's always something new to do and see, whether it's the new items in the shop on a particular day, the bugs that only come out at night, or fish you can only catch during a certain month or season. But the real beauty of Animal Crossing New Horizons is that you're not stuck to one task or playstyle. Some play Animal Crossing as a daily habit. Some use it as a tool to express their creativity and deck out their islands with amazing designs. And others try to complete their item or museum catalogs 100%. There are countless ways to play the game, and none of them are right or wrong. And the best part? Sharing it all with other players. Have friends visit your island and give them the full tour, or take off from Dodo Airlines and explore someone else's tropical paradise. It's social gaming at its finest, and one of the best experiences available on Nintendo Switch. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is an example of a video game truly living up to its name. It's been said over and over again, but this is truly the ultimate Smash Bros. Title. The sheer amount of content here is unbelievable, as every playable fighter that has ever been introduced in the series is here, and most classic stages received a gorgeous graphical overhaul as well. A celebration of the Smash Bros. Franchise and gaming as a whole, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate pulls out all the stops. Not only does it have the biggest and best roster of fighters the series has ever seen, complete with pretty much every big video game character you can dream of, the fighting mechanics are arguably the best and most accessible they've ever been. And this is not even to mention the robust single player, which includes stadium games, ongoing spirit events, stage builder, and much, much more. Whether you play Smash like a tryhard or are more into 4-player free-for-alls with items on, there's never been a Smash Bros. Title more worthy of your purchase. It's no surprise that the world-famous Plumber's latest and greatest adventure snatches up the number 2 spot on this best Switch games list. Super Mario Odyssey is a love letter to all things Mario, merging the best of his 3D adventures with some of the flavor from his 2D side-scrolling history. Odyssey takes our plumber to a scale he's never gone before, as this journey goes just about everywhere, from the city to a jungle, the sea, the pyramids, and even the moon. Speaking of moons, there's over 880 unique moons to collect, which are this game's equivalent to the iconic Power Star. This isn't an adventure you'll pick up and put down in a matter of hours. And due to an array of new moves at his disposal, Mario has never felt better to control. But perhaps the best new feature introduced in Odyssey is his hat-shaped sidekick, Cappy, whose magical powers allow Mario to capture enemies and objects around him and harness their powers for himself. This brings an entirely new dimension to the game's platforming challenges, and what Mario is able to capture and make use of during his adventure just might surprise you. But above all else, especially if you're a longtime Mario fan, is it's genuinely hard to not have a big, goofy grin on your face the entire way through Super Mario Odyssey. An instant classic and Switch must-have, this is a statement game from Nintendo that will be immortalized in video game history. Even in year 6 of its lifespan, the Switch's first game is still its best one. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an open-world action-adventure game that, back in 2017, set the standard for how these types of games should be designed going forward. Combine a massive, freely explorable, fully open world with Nintendo's premier fantasy IP, and it's a match made in heaven. Despite its massive size, the world never ceases to be interesting and encourages exploration at every turn. Aside from the main story events, there are a wide variety of side quests, creative puzzle-based shrines, and collectible Korok seeds hidden in every nook and cranny of this world. It's no exaggeration to say that completing this game is a multi-hundred-hour experience at least, but at no point does it ever get boring or repetitive. But it's not all about the exploration either. Combat in the Zelda series has also never felt better. It's fluid and varied, difficult, but fair. Wield one-handed and two-handed swords, bows, axes, magic wands, and even tree branches or the limbs of a dead enemy. The creativity and interactivity of Breath of the Wild's Hyrule is simply mind-blowing. And we haven't even talked about the fact that this game features strong voice acting, a robust crafting system, top-notch music, substantial downloadable content, and much, much more. Even years later, Breath of the Wild is still a cut above anything that tries to compete. The definition of a system seller, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is still the best game on Nintendo Switch in 2022. Well, there you have it, the top 25 games on Nintendo Switch. These are just some of the system's must-buy titles, but the full list of top-tier Switch experiences could probably fit a top 50 or even top 100 list at this point. And the best part, the influx of great games to the Switch shows no sign of slowing down. Feel free to share your favorite Switch games in the comment section below. And if you like this video, consider leaving a like or subscribing, because I share your love of Switch and make quality Nintendo-related content on the regular. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.